What if I told you that environmental destruction has a price tag, and not just some abstract future cost, but a very real, very immediate one? A new report has put a number on it, and honestly, it's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around. Let's dive into what's really going on. So let's get right to it. What is the actual bottom line cost of all this damage, hour by hour? We talk about this stuff a lot, but it's usually in terms of things that are hard to measure. Well, not anymore. Someone finally did the math. There it is, $5 billion. That's the figure researchers have landed on. And that's not per day or per month. That is happening every single hour of every single day. The planet is literally bleeding money and resources at a rate that's almost impossible to sustain. And here's why this number really, truly matters. This isn't just a green issue anymore. It's a red alert economic crisis in the making. Experts are saying this level of financial bleed directly threatens everything: our food, our water, and yet even the stability of the entire global economy. Okay, so where is this gigantic financial drain actually coming from? Who are the main culprits? The report points the finger at two major areas. Let's break them down. All right, on one side, you've got the global food industry, and on the other, the fossil fuel sector. Now, these two are the engines of our modern world, right? But according to this analysis, together, they're responsible for that $5 billion an hour price tag. But how, exactly? Let's start with our food. I mean, how can the very thing we need to survive be so destructive? Well, the report breaks down all these hidden costs. We're talking about massive deforestation to make way for industrial farms, the tons of chemical fertilizers we use, the incredible overuse of water, and of course, all the greenhouse gases from livestock. Each one of these things adds up, quietly, in the background, until suddenly it's a global problem. And then you have the fossil fuel sector. It's been the engine of industry for over a century, but it's also pushing our planet towards some really dangerous tipping points. Think extreme heat waves, rising seas, storms that are getting more and more powerful, and entire ecosystems just collapsing. Every single barrel burned is just adding to the damage and piling on another huge financial burden for all of us to deal with later. So now let's connect the dots, because this isn't just some abstract environmental harm we're talking about. This damage translates directly into trillions of dollars in very real, very tangible costs that we all end up paying. This table really lays it out. You can see it clear as day. On the left, you've got the consequence, and on the right, the hit to our wallets. You know, climate disasters cost billions in recovery, and people can't work. Pollution makes people sick, driving up healthcare costs. We're seeing major crop failures and fishing industries collapsing. And when land becomes unlivable, people are forced to move. It's all connected, and the costs are just astronomical. And let's be absolutely crystal clear about something. This isn't a prediction for 2050 or 2100. The report really hammers this home. These scenarios, coastal cities flooding, entire regions battling drought, industries failing, it's all happening right now, today. This quote from the report really just hits the nail on the head. Every single day we wait isn't just a missed opportunity. No, it's an active choice to make the future harder and way, way more expensive to fix. This is the big question, isn't it? If the numbers are this bad and the economic case so obvious, what's the holdup? Why aren't we moving faster? Well, the short answer is it's complicated. You've got these massive industries that are completely woven into the fabric of our economies, our politics, our global supply chains. So to make a real change, you have to confront some incredibly powerful interests and try to undo decades of habits that are just deeply ingrained in how we live. But here's where the story takes a turn for the better. The report doesn't just leave us with the problem. It actually shines a bright light on the solution, and it frames it not as some huge, painful cost, but as a much, much more profitable way forward. And here it is, a blueprint for change. It's a clear, actionable plan. First, shift to cleaner energy. Second, stop deforestation and support better regenerative farming. Third, and this is a big one, drastically cut global food waste. And fourth, pour money into sustainable tech. Analysts say that even small moves in these directions could make a gigantic difference. But of all the things in this report, this next point is the real kicker. It's the economic argument that completely changes the game. Just look at this. I mean, really look at this chart. That huge bar on the left, that's the cost of doing nothing. measured in trillions of dollars of damage. And that tiny little bar on the right, that's the cost of the solutions, investing in new tech and systems. It's measured in billions. The difference is just, it's staggering. And this brings us to the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. Let me say it again because it's that important. Fixing the problem is literally cheaper than ignoring it. This one idea reframes the entire debate. It's not an expense, it's an investment. So at the end of the day, that's the choice we're facing. We can keep losing billions of dollars every single hour, or we can make a strategic investment in a stable economy, a secure food system, and, our collective future. And that leaves us with this final question. Now that we know that fixing the problem is actually the cheaper, smarter, and safer path, is the mind-boggling price of doing nothing a price we're still willing to pay?